All right, fantastic. Welcome everyone to our Saturday live stream. Today we're going to be talking about web efficiency tips. So I'll be covering things that can help you design websites really fast. Thank you very much for all you guys tuning in. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about the web design efficiency tips. Now, when it comes to designing websites, a lot of the processes, especially if you're designing websites for clients, a lot of the processes are repetitive. So you can imagine if you're setting up a website, you have to create the header, the footer, custom fonts, and all that stuff on each and every website that you need to design. So what I'm going to be sharing today is pretty much tips on how to design your websites fast. Now, this live stream is also going to be recorded, so I will add it into our membership section. So for those of you that didn't watch last week's one, it's also in the Funnels to Income membership. So if you go in there, you'll see that live stream. You can watch it. It's in high res as well. All right, so the first thing that we're going to talk about here, this is just a refresher from last week, because last week we spoke about Flywheel, local by Flywheel. This is a tool that allows you to build websites on your local machine. So I'm just going to switch over here so we can take a look at Flywheel. So as you can see here, I have quite a lot of websites installed, and I'm always experimenting with different tools, different techniques of, how I can enhance the web design process. So as you can see here, I have quite a few websites here. So this is the first step. Now, this tool is absolutely free. So you can go to local by Flywheel, download it, and you can start using it. It's free for Mac and also PC. So you can actually start by building your websites locally on your machine without committing to any hosting. So now with this tool here, the good thing as well is once you install it, you can also create what are known as blueprints. Now, blueprints are pretty much sites local by Flywheel, where you can actually set up a website which has all your plugins, all your themes, and all the tools that you are likely going to use in your future websites. So this is what you save as a blueprint. So each website you install here, by coming to add local site here, you can actually install this website from a blueprint. So you can see here, create sites from blueprint. If I click on this drop down, I've already created a website which has all the plugins that I need, and the blueprint is called Mac. So it has my Divi, it has my Divi theme, it has my SEO plugins, it has all the plugins that I need for me to design my website. So this is the first step. Create a local by Flywheel account, download the software onto your local machine, and this is where you're going to be building your site. So even if it's your client's website, build them on your local machine and then export them later to the hosting company. So that's step one. Now let's talk about step number two. Now with step number two, what I need to do here is to actually demonstrate it here. So I'm going to come to one of my sites here, Genesis. I'm going to click on view site. Right, I'm just going to bring this over here so you can see as I am working on this site. Okay, so when we take a look at this site, in fact, I'm going to get rid of this layout that I've added here. I'm just going to come in and just delete that layout. Come over here, delete. Yes, okay, great. So I've deleted this layout. So this is pretty much what you'd see if you are building a brand new WordPress website with Divi. So over here now, I'm just going to click on visit site. So as you can see, this is plain. The header here doesn't have anything going on. It's plain. This is how it comes out of the box with Divi. This is the footer, and as you can see here, nothing is going on as well. It's pretty basic, it's pretty boring. So if you were designing websites, what you'll have to do here is each and every site you build, you are going to need to design the header, design the footer, and so on. Each and every time you design a website, that is if you're using Divi, of course. Now, that in itself is very inefficient, because think about it. Every single time you're designing a website, you're going to go in, design your header, design your footer. So one of the quickest ways you can actually save time is by creating a template that you can actually use to design your header and your footer, because you're going to be wasting a lot of time designing these layouts every single time. So you need to have a standard header and footer template that you can apply to your designs each and every time. All right, so I'm just taking a look here at your questions. Patricia says, I use MAMP. Yes, MAMP is also very good. But as I mentioned, MAMP also lacks features like the blueprint that I've just mentioned, where you can actually have a website which has all your plugins and all your templates. And also, there's a link that you can share with your clients from your local machine. I know we tried it last week, and because it was quite a lot of us trying to access it, it didn't actually show, but it actually works. So that's the easiest way to actually do it. But MAMP does the good job as well, or LAMP. It also does a very good job. Okay. So I'm just taking a look here at the comments. So moving on. So what we're going to do now is show you where you can actually design your templates. So I'm just going to switch over here now. So to design your templates, you can always come over here to dashboard and go straight over here to theme builder. So here on the theme builder, you want to start by designing your header, and you can do this by coming over here, build global header. And this will take you into the builder. You can build from scratch. So once you start designing your header here, so let's say this is the layout, you can add your logo here by just searching for an image module like that. And then you can set up your logo. Now your logo here could be, let's say, on your local machine. So I'm just going to choose this one here, upload a logo. So as you can see here, I've just added a quick logo for my header area. I can also go in and add my background colors if I wanted here, like that, and so on. So this is how you would actually build your header. I'm just going to close out of this because I'm not going to spend a lot of time doing this. I already have a tutorial where I show you how to design a header and a footer for your website. Now, once you've designed your header and your footer, the next stage is to export it. So you can come over here, click on portability, give your theme a name, and then export all the templates. Now, why is this important? Now, the reason why this is important is because this is the template that you're going to be using for all your future websites. And to prove this, I have a template that I built called the Genesis template. Now, this is a template that can be used pretty much on any type of website. It's highly customizable, but it gives you a very, very good starting point. It actually saves you a lot of time when it comes to designing your website. Now, I have a link here. The template is only $7, but if for those of you who are lifetime members or those of you who are VIP members, this is also in your dashboard. So if you log on to funnelstoincome.com, in the dashboard, you'll see that template. You can download it and start using it right away. So now I'm actually going to show you how this template works. So this template has a dark and a light theme. So that's very exciting. So if you're designing a website which has a light theme, you can go ahead and use the light theme. But if you want to use the dark theme, you can also go ahead and use the dark theme. All right. So let me show you how to actually use this. Right. So like I said, I've already downloaded my template. So I'm going to click here on portability. And notice that, in fact, this is a question that I've been getting from quite a few people. If you want to install this template, you need to be in the theme builder, okay? You definitely need to be the theme builder here. So you just hover over Divi. In fact, let's start over here from the dashboard. So you need to come over here, hover over here, click on theme builder. And then you want to click here on portability. So this is where you want to import by clicking this import tab. And also you want to override the default website template and then allow import to override existing assignments. Click here on where it says choose file. Now I'm going to navigate, and I think mine is on the desktop. Yes, it is. So here it is. If you download it, it's going to be a zipped folder, as you can see here. And then when you open it, it's going to have these two files. So we have Genesis Light and Genesis Dark. Okay. So the one we're going to use for this example is going to be Genesis Dark. So I'm going to click on that, click on open, and then import a Divi theme builder template. Okay. So now it's importing. So this template is actually really cool because it comes with a few pages that are very, very important, which is the custom 404 page and also the search results page. So when someone goes to a page that doesn't exist on your website, it will display a custom built 404 page. All right, so now that I've imported my template, and this is the Genesis template, I'm gonna click on Save Changes. Now let's take a look at our website and see what it looks like. Now, if you recall earlier on, we didn't have a footer, we didn't have a header. So now, if I come over here and click on Visit Site, now we have a footer. And notice this, our logo has been already imported here. It's down there, right in place. And on the top here, you can see our navigation here has all our links. And by the way, it looks like it's cut off at the top here. Don't worry about that because you will be able to see it properly once you exit out of this website, okay? So I will show you this towards the end. So you have your social media links here. You can go in and actually customize this background color. So let me show you quickly if you wanted to use different colors for this website. So all you have to do is to come over here to Global Footer. So change your colors to match your branding. Click here on Design, click on Background, and then over here now, this is where you can change your colors. Now notice as I drag this, right, it's changing the colors. So that is how quickly you can go in and change the colors for this template. So just like that, if I save this, this footer will be applied across the whole website. So you don't have to go to each and every page to change the footer. It's already there, it's done for you, and you don't have to, make any further changes. So as you can see, everything is all laid out for me. I don't have to go in and spend an hour trying to create a footer and then, the header, the 404 page, and so on. So as you can see here, it's very, very easy to use. Now, once we've added our footer, all we have to do above here is to just click on Save Changes. Now, after this footer stage, this is where you can now go in and start building all your pages. Okay, so if I click here on all pages, and then let's say I want to work on this contact page, I can now click on Edit with Divi. So this is going to open the builder. So let's say this is our page. So as you can see on the top here, the selected page has the color as well. The header is there in place. If I scroll all the way down here, look at our footer is right there. So at any point, I can actually come over here to the actual template, change this footer anytime, change these colors of my links and my headings. So now I can just go back over here to the dashboard. Let's go back to the builder. So let's say right now, I'm just going to refresh this so we can see. Let's go to the contact page. So you can see here on the contact page, if I scroll all the way down, this is the color of our footer. So let's say I want to change this. So all I have to do is to come back over here to Theme Builder, Global Footer. And then I'm going to go into my section settings, click on background. And now I can just change my color back to what it was. Save that, save the page. And then I'm just going to exit out of here, save all changes. Now, if I come back over here and take a look at all my pages, all I have to do is to refresh, and then you can see this footer now changing. There we go. So now my footer color has changed, and I can go to any other page here, for example, services, and you'll notice that the footer has changed across the whole website. So this is a quick way to actually improve your web design workflow. So now that we have this, we still have other stages that we need to work on to actually speed or increase our web design efficiency tips. And by the way, for those of you who are not members, I have a link in here just below the live stream, which says buy Genesis template. You can just buy it. It's $7. You can use it on as many websites as you want. And it's, there's no licensing. Pretty much you can just use this however you want. All right. So I've got some questions here. I have changed footer or header on one page. Ray, when you change your header and your footer in the template, it doesn't actually change it on one page. It changes it across the whole website. So let's say your website has 500 pages. As soon as you change your header color or text or layout in the actual template, across the board, it's going to change the whole website. So that's the beauty of using templates. And this is why I really need to emphasize on your web design efficiency tips in this episode, because a lot of you are going to be wasting a lot of time designing all these things, manually from scratch. So I want you to get into the habit of actually using these templates, or using the Divi template, because if you don't do that, you're going to have a headache trying to build your websites this way, in fact, the old way, where we were designing footers for each and every page, and there was a lot of hacks to try and make it work. So now with the theme builder, this is pretty much what we can actually do to speed up. So once you design it, you design your header and your footer, it'll be applied across the whole website. It doesn't matter how many pages you have on your website. All right, let's have a look here. Rito says, show us the responsive version of the footer, e.g. tablet version. Okay, fantastic. I can do that. So I'm just going to switch back over here. So if you wanted to see, one way is to actually drag this, or in fact, you might not be able to see it clearly. Let me just log back in here. Let's go into one of our pages. All right, so I'm just going to go to our contact page here. So I'm going to click on these three little dots. So far we are on the normal desktop view. Now this is the tablet view. Okay, so you can see here on the top, it has this hamburger icon. So if we click on it, then it shows our pages. Look at that. So that's how it would work on a tablet. So you have all your pages like that. If you click it, it goes away. And all the way down here to the bottom, this is where we have our footer. So it just divides this into 4 spaces like that. And then this is our phone. Now there's something that I may need to do here, is to change the font size on these devices. And while we're in this tutorial, I might as well show you how to do that quickly. All right, so let's quickly do that. In fact, this is something that I should have taken a look at. All right, so I'm going to come back over here now to dashboard, click on Divi. Let's go to our theme builder. Let's go to our footer. Okay, so right away, I'm just going to go into my module settings here. Click on design, text. All right, so now in text here, I'm going to click on this little icon. Then I'm going to go into my tablet view. So as you can see here, the font here is quite small on the tablet view. So this is where we just need to bump it up a little bit. Okay, so let's set our size here. Okay, this is the wrong place. In fact, I need to be working here. So now I'm going to come to my text size. Click here on this little icon. So now in tablet view, I'm just going to increase the size like that. So you can see, I think it looks better here at let's go with 1.6. And for the phone, we're going to bump this up again to about, let's say, 2.3. Okay, so I think that looks much better now. So what I'm going to do now is to save this. And then I'm just going to right click here, copy module styles. And then I'm going to paste my module styles here. So all my settings now are pretty much applied to both of these. Now let's take a look at this in our 3 views. So I'm going to start here by going to the tablet view. So now we can see our layout is much better. We can now read all this text. If I go to my phone view, and again, it's now nice and clear. We can read it. So all I have to do now is to go into this text and just customize the heading text, and also right here on the bottom. So as you can see, this is pretty much like using my normal builder. So again, I'm going to come back over here. Let's customize this. So here we need to go into this little icon, click on tablet, And then over here on the tablet view, I'm just going to increase the size a little bit to about 1.8. Come over here to my phone. Let's increase that as well to about maybe 2.5. Save that. Right click, copy styles. Right click, paste module styles. Great. Now the final stage is to, do the change over here now on the phone and the email. But of course you get, you get the process. So definitely thank you very much for pointing that out. I'm going to be updating this template so that it has these latest sizes for the different views. Okay, so now let's take a look at it one more time. So if I click here on the tablet view, you can see now it's in 4 blocks, very easy to read. If I come over here to the phone, again, it's much easier to read. Great. So that is how this footer looks like on these devices. Michelle, yes, I'm going to update the Genesis template with the correct font sizes for tablet view before you purchase it. Definitely, I'm going to do that. So for those of you that have bought it, all you have to do is to go in and just add this new template that I'll put out there, and it will have the latest. So if you want to go ahead and buy the template, you can just go ahead and buy it now. And I will update it on the actual file and just tell you that this is the latest version. So this is going to be called version 1.1. Okay, so pretty much this is how the footer works. So I'm sure you can agree with me that if you're designing websites and each time you start off with a new site, you import your template, and this is, this template is going to have the header and the footer. This is a very, very good starting point. Now, moving on to the next stage. Now, before we start talking about the next stage, any questions so far? Before I move on to the next stage, web design efficiency tips. Okay, so I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to save this. Michelle says, if you use a template footer or header, can you make a change to one single page so it's different? That's a very, very good question. Absolutely. So let me show you how that works. So here you can see this is a global header and global footer. So that means this header and footer actually applies to the whole website. So if you wanted to add a different header and a different footer to a different page, what you'd need to do is to come over here, add new template. Now, do you see here where it says specific pages, right? So if you hover over here on specific pages, you actually target the page or the pages that you want to have a different footer on, okay? So I'm going to come over here and let's say it's the contact page that we need to have a different footer. Click on create template. So now it has been added here. So you can see specific pages, contact. So now if I go to my footer, in fact, let me just close this so you can see what I'm doing here. So this is still global header and global footer, right? So what we need to do here is to create a footer for this actual page. So if I start designing the footer here, I can click on build custom footer, build from scratch. So let's say I'm going to have, let's say for this footer, I'm just going to have maybe a contact form. I want to save that. And then I'm just going to add a background color here. Right, this is just a rough design, okay? I'm going to save this. Okay, now I'm going to exit out of this. Save changes. Okay, so for the contact page, it won't have the global footer design that we have. It is going to have a totally different footer that we've just created. So let's have a look at the site and see if that actually works. So if I refresh this page, you notice that this is the footer that we have. Now, if I go to the contact page, Scroll all the way down to the bottom. Look at that. We have a totally different footer now. So yes, it is possible to actually create a different footer altogether for a specific page. And this template here allows us to do that. In fact, you can even be even more creative and design a specific footer for your blog posts. So let's say for your blog post, you want to have a totally different footer that has a different design. You can actually separate it by coming over here, add a new template. In fact, let me show you. Okay, so let's say you want to add a new template for a specific page on your website. So what you need to do is to click here on Add New Template, and then you want to come over here to All Pages. Okay. In fact, you want to come to specific pages. So I want to add a brand new footer for our contact page. So I'm just going to come over here, choose contact page. And the good thing is you can also choose multiple pages. So let's say private policy needs to have the same footer that I'm going to be creating now. All I have to do now after selecting those specific pages, in this case, is the contact and the privacy policy, create template. So now you want to make sure you delete this because this is global. If you go in and edit this, it's just as good as editing it over here on the global footer. So delete this and then add your custom footer by just clicking over here. Build custom footer, or in fact, you can use global footer. Sorry, what am I saying? Click here and then click on build custom footer. Build from scratch. So now you can start adding all your elements to your footer. So let's say for your footer, you want to have this column. And in the first column here, you want to add an image. So I'm just going to choose my image here. And let's say my image here needs to be a logo. In fact, let me close this. I can just use my dynamic here, site logo. So now my logo is going to be added. I'm going to add it there. And let's say I need to add a background color to this. I can just come in here, add my background color. Okay, let's use this one here. Save that. And then over here, maybe I may want to have an email opt-in. So it just depends what you want to have on your custom footer. So here, I'm just going to get rid of all this text here. Save that. And then let's say over here on the right, I'm going to add, what can we add here? Running out of ideas. What can we have? Okay, let's add a search. Okay, save that. Right, so let's say this is our footer for our contact page and also our privacy policy page. So now that I've finished designing this, I'm just going to save it. I'm going to close out of here. And here it is. This is our footer. I'm going to save changes. Now, if I come over here, in fact, let me go to a page like services so you can see the difference. So if I come over here to my services page, you can see this is my footer. But if I go to my contact page and scroll all the way down to the bottom, this is now our new footer. Of course, it's not designed in a nice, in a pretty way, but pretty much this is the footer that people see when they go to the contact page. So every other page will have the normal footer, but on the contact page, it's going to have this footer because it's being controlled here by our theme builder. So that's how you would actually have your footers on custom pages. And as I mentioned before, you can actually become even more creative here by assigning specific footers and headers to different types of content. So let's say you have an e-commerce website and you want to have a specific footer on your product pages. You can totally have a different footer by pretty much coming over here to a template. And in fact, I don't have WooCommerce installed here, so I can't demonstrate that. But let's say you want to have a different footer for your posts. This is where you would come here, all posts, and you can start designing your template here for, your posts. So this is how you would design your template. All right, so I'm just going to take a quick glance here and see if I have any more questions. Peter says, you've just bought it and it says it's on hold. Yes, I just need to go into PayPal and approve that payment. Honey says, if I buy this template, do I have a tutorial on how to use it? Yes, I've actually recorded a video on how to use the Genesis template. So if you buy it, definitely you'll have instructions on how to actually use it. Yes, honey, a recorded tutorial. Yes, absolutely. I have a recorded tutorial that shows you how to use this template. All right, I'm just going through the comments here. Okay, right, so moving on. I'm going to be talking about the third stage of web design efficiency. So let's just recap and go through the steps that you need to design your websites efficiently. So first of all, you want to use something like LAMP, or I think it's desktop server, but I recommend using Local by Flywheel. That's the one I use. So Local by Flywheel allows you to design your websites locally on your machine. So that's step number one. You can design as many variations of the website, test a lot of things before you can actually have the website live. And the beauty of using Local by Flywheel as well is you can build what are known as blueprints. So your websites will have all your plugins all pre-installed each and every time when you set up a new website. So if you're a freelance designer, you're designing a lot of websites, each time you load one, it's going to have all your SEO plugins and any other plugins that you may need to have there, including all your themes. So that's step number one. Step number two is using a template similar to the Genesis template that I've just shown you. Now, the advantages of using this template is it comes with a custom 404 page. So when people go to a page that doesn't exist on your website, normally they just get an ugly page, which comes in by default with Divi, by the way. You get an ugly page which doesn't look very attractive. But with the Genesis theme now, it has a 404 page which has a button that takes you back to the home page if people try to access a page that doesn't exist or a broken link. On the theme as well, you have a custom designed header and footer. All you need to do is to add all your headers and then just assign all the links that you need to any of your pages. It's highly customizable. You can go in and customize it based on the colors of the new website you're working on. So the template is very, 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 very important. Stage number three now is actually using what is known as a style guide. So you'll notice now, in fact, let me switch over here so you can see. So what you'll notice here is when we start designing our website, I'm going to come over here to add new. So we can add a brand new page. So let's call this page testing. Click on use Divi Builder. Okay, build from scratch. Or I can even start by building from a pre-made layout. So let's say it's time now to start working on our website. So I'm going to click here, add my text module. Like that. Okay, now you notice one thing. This text that we have here comes in with a default font that comes with Divi. So ideally, that's not what we want. Again, let's say in fact, let's split this into two. Okay, so over here, let's say I want to add a heading. So I'm going to add a text module again, and let's assign a heading here. Highlight this, set this to heading 1. So you notice that, our headings, our paragraph texts, it's all pretty much with the default font that comes with Divi, okay? So again, let's add a blurb module. There we go. So you see everything here is not, it's pretty much standard, right? So again, you are going to take quite a lot of time going in, changing all your fonts at each and every instance. So for all your headings, you'd go in each and every time, change your heading size, change the paragraph text size. So that takes a long time. So what you need is what is known as a style guide. And how many of you are actually using style guides? In fact, I'm sure those of you that have gone through my course on funnels to income about the web design formula, you know what I'm talking about. You need to have a page which has your predefined styles for your website. This is how you design websites professionally. All right, so as you can see here, things are not looking good. You know, everything is all standard. I would need to go in here, go into design, heading text, and then find my heading here, change my font, give it a font name, and so on. So let's say this one here is supposed to be Georgia, and then I have to come here. Maybe I want it all caps, change the color. So as you can see, all these steps, right? If I want to add a heading 2, I have to go in, do the same thing, change the header, change the size, change the color. So it is very, very time consuming. So I'm going to save this page, and then I'm going to show you how powerful it is to use what is known as a style guide. Okay. So now that I've saved this, exit the Visual Builder. Okay. Now I'm going to come back over here to my dashboard. So to import my style guide, I'm going to come over here. In fact, I'll show you in a moment quickly how you can create a style guide, but I've already created one. So I'm going to go ahead now and import the style guide onto my website. So I'm going to come over here to Divi Library, import, click on import, choose the file. It's in my downloads folder, I think. There we go. Downloads. Here it is. Divi Builder Style Guide. Open. And then this is very important. You need to make sure you click here where it says apply layouts defaults to website. Like that. Import Divi Builder layouts. Yes. There we go. So my style guide is now added onto my site. Okay. And all the styles that I have on this page are actually applied across the whole website now. So if I come back over here now to this page, I'm going to refresh this page and see what magic happens here. Refresh the page. And now if you take a look here at my text, it's all changed. My blurbs now are all centered. My paragraph text is changed here. And any page now that I open that I want to start designing, it's going to have my paragraph text as my font that I've chosen here. So let's go ahead and do that. So if I enable the Visual Builder here, and let's say I add a brand new module. There we go. So you can see my text here has taken the settings of my style guide. So that means each paragraph I'm going to be creating on my website is going to have pretty much the same size, same color across the whole website. Now, this is really, really powerful. Now, when I used to do web design reviews, one of the most consistent things I used to see is websites that have different font sizes on different pages. So you can imagine if you start off with a style guide like this, you're going to have a consistent website across your whole website. So this is what you want to do. You want to have a style guide. So let's switch back over here and let's close this. In fact, let's say you want to change this to a heading. Now this is now our heading. Notice that every time I'm going to add a heading here, it is going to be stylized. How cool is that? So let's say this is going to be heading 2. So my heading 2 is already customized. So all I have to do now when I build my website is just to go in and just start building. All my blurbs now, everything is all centered. I don't have to go in and center each and every blurb as I'm building my website, because that is very time consuming. So the question is, how do you create this style guide? I'm sure most of you want to know how to do this. I'm going to show you quickly how you do it, but I cover this in great detail on the actual course. So before I start designing it, showing you how it works, let me just take a look here. Rito says, I've tried to create a global header with the same properties using Divi standard header. Unfortunately, it did not succeed. The shrinking did not succeed. Yes, for the shrinking to happen, you need to add some code in the actual header that you're actually designing so that it shrinks. So you need some CSS code in there. If you try to do it without using the CSS code, it will not shrink. But this Genesis theme actually shrinks because I've also added the code in there that allows the header to shrink as you're scrolling up and down. Okay. Michelle says shrinking is not a feature included in the theme builder, right? That's correct. Yes, Michelle, you're absolutely right. That feature, the shrinking feature, is not included in the normal template that comes with the theme builder. You would have to add some CSS code in there. But thankfully, on the Genesis template, I've actually added the CSS code that allows this header to shrink as you're scrolling on your website. Ahmed says, can you answer my question, please? What's the question here, Ahmed? Okay. Ahmed says, what if you want to change one thing from the global footer, then apply it to the contact page? Do you still have to redesign the whole footer again? So if you change one thing on the global footer, that one thing that you change is going to be applied across the whole website. But if you want to design something different on the contact page, for example, you need to redesign it because this design is going to be on the actual contact page. So you need to redesign that footer because if you use the same global footer, pretty much whatever changes you do are going to be applied across the whole website. I hope that answers the question. If not, please let me know. All right. Brenda says, I do now after watching your course. Fantastic. Monique says as well. Michelle says, what's the default font? I think the default font is, let me take a look. It's, can't believe I almost forgot that. Okay. The default font is called Open Sans. So ideally, when you design your website, you don't want to use the exact same font for your website. You want to customize it, use a totally different font as you're designing it. Okay. Yes. Open Sans, Open Sans. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, why don't we go ahead now so I can show you how to create this. Right, so let me just delete this, reset this. Okay. Now let's add our style guide. And I've saved this to my layout. So I want to come over here to existing pages and, oops, am I on the right website here? Actually, I have to import it. Okay, there we go. Add from library. Here it is. It's called style. Right, so you can see what I've done here. I've added my headings. So it's heading 1, heading 2, heading 3. This is my blurb. Okay, and this is my paragraph. So when it comes to creating your style guide, you just have to add all your modules here. So let's say you want to add an image module here and you want your images to have rounded corners all around. You just come over here, you customize everything. So in this case, you'd come over here to border, add your rounded corners like that. And then you want to make this item global. So once you set it up as a global, this now gets applied to your whole website. But you want to be adding all your elements on a specific page, which you can then import on any other website that you're working on. And then once you import it on that website, it'll have all your default settings, even your section settings. If you want to add dividers, and let's say the dividers need to be the same across the website, that will have all your default settings. So this is the actual page you would need to create. And then once you've created it, you can then export it and make sure it's named style guide. But as I mentioned, this I go into a lot more detail in the web design formula course and show you pretty much how you can create this step by step and how to apply it on your website. So step number 1 is the local by Flywheel. Make sure you have that free piece of software. Step number 2 is to create a header and a footer template. For those of you that don't have one, It's in the description here. You can buy it. It's only $7. Okay. And then the third stage is having a style guide. Now the fourth stage, now this stage is very, very important. I need to really talk about this because I see a lot of people really getting confused about the pre-made layouts that we get with Divi. So a lot of people are waiting to see a proper layout for, let's say, a plumbing company. Now, as a designer now, you don't need to worry about that because you can pretty much get any type of layout and change it to whatever you want. Let me show you how. So now I'm just going to switch over here and let's start building a brand new page here. So come over here to my dashboard, discard and exit. So let's just call this page landing. Right. So with the pre-made layouts, this is what you need to click here right in the middle. Click on choose pre-made layout. So this is where now you can decide which layout you need to use. So let's say our website is about photography. It doesn't have to be a layout here about photography. Okay. It can be any layout. So as I'm scrolling through this, I can actually choose the pottery studio for the type of website I need to create. So I'm going to go ahead, select this, and let's say the page is pretty much a landing page. So I'm going to go with this actual page, use this layout. So it's going to take a bit of time downloading this layout. So now that I have everything all in my page, what I need to do now is to go in and customize this. So the main advantages, or the reason why you want to be using these pre-made layouts, is because they are highly optimized for all your viewing screens. So for example, when it comes to tablets, it's highly optimized for that. It's highly optimized for mobile devices. So it is really good. You don't have to tamper with changing the sizes of the fonts, changing the sizes for the views, because everything is done for you in the actual design. So let's prove this. Let's take a look at this. So if I come over here to this middle, to the tablet view, right, you notice that everything has, enough space here on the sides. The text looks great. And because I have a style guide, it has gone in and added my fonts in here. So I don't have to go in and play around with the fonts. Everything is all added. So you can see here, it looks great on all devices. Now on this device here, on this phone, you can see here, everything is all spaced out. Everything looks really good. Now, the next stage is to start adding all our images, okay? So now let's change this website into a site that we need to create. So if I come over here to my section settings, I can pretty much now go through this and see where all the changes have been made. So here I can see that there's an image here. So I'm going to come over here, choose my own image. So for this example, I am going to go with, let's go with this one here. Okay, so that's going to be our image now. So just by clicking that, you can see immediately I've gone in and I've changed my image to suit the design of website that I need to be working on. Okay, so now I'm going to save. Next, I am going to change this text here so I can read it easier. Come over here to design. And then on the heading text, boom. Now it's easier to read. Save that. Moving on. So over here, of course, you want to change, the button where it's going to link. Now let's move on to this section. So if I come over here, all I'm doing here is to find out where these changes have been done and where the designs have been done. So here I can see nothing was done on the sections. So it's going to likely be on the row settings. I'm going to come over here to row settings, filter, modified styles. Okay, so it's not here either. Close that. So definitely it's going to be in the columns. So I'm going to click here on this little gear icon, filter, modified styles, and there we go. This is where they changed it. So I'm going to change my color here right away. Okay, no messing about. Change my color here, save that, close modified styles, come over here to this one here, filter, modified styles, change the color for that one. So you can see pretty quickly, I'm actually going in, customizing this, adding my own colors to this layout. Now moving on, I also need to change this image right here. So let's find out where the changes have been made. Come over here, and this is the second column. So let's check here, because yes, there it is. The change here is on the second column. I'm going to go ahead and add my own image, and this time I'm going to go with this image right here. Upload an image. Actually, this one here doesn't look really. In fact, you know what? I like it. Let's go with it. There we go. Now I have my own image here. Now moving on, I can also change this image right here. Click on my row settings, first column, filter, modified styles, and I'm going to change this one here. Let's see what we're going to use this time. Okay, this time I'm going to go with this guy here. Upload an image, save that. And then on the right column here, I need to change the background color. So I'm going to click here on filter, modified styles, and right away I'm just going to go in and change my color just like that. So you can see quickly that this layout is quickly changing to my own design. I haven't really tampered with any other thing here. So let's say this section here, I don't really need it, right? I can just delete it. And this one right here, don't need it. Go ahead, delete that. So this footer here, don't need it. Get rid of that. So this subscribe here, I think that's going to be very important for me. So I'm going to go in again, filter, modified styles. So I can see this is where the background color is. That's going to be my color. Maybe I'll go with this. Okay. Save that. And I can see there's a little bit of a gap here. Delete that. Right, perfect. So now I've gone in, I've added all my images, my layout looks great. I'm going to publish this page. And then the next stage now is just to quickly look and see if everything is looking great on the different devices. So I'm going to come over here, tablet view. There we go. You can see here, everything is properly laid out. My colors are in there. My branding colors are in. Great. My footer is there as well. Phone. Same thing. This looks great on the phone as well. There we go. So pretty much these are the 3 steps, or 4 steps rather, of how to design websites efficiently with Divi. So now that we have this layout, the second layout that we can actually use does not need to come from this layout page. So we can go in and choose a totally different layout from a different pre-made layout. It doesn't have to be from the pottery. So we can choose a totally different layout for maybe the contact page. So let's say over here, we go on the contact and we need to change the contact page. So here we need to, let's delete this. And now let's build our contact page. Click on this plus button. So over here, I'm just going to search for contact. So this is going to bring up my contact pages. Okay, let's have a look here. Right, so I can just scroll through this and see which contact page I need to use. So let's say I want to work with this one here. Click on it, use this layout. I know it's going to bring its own colors and all of that, but because we have a color palette that we have, we can use that color palette by replacing everything that we have here, including all the fonts. Okay, so I'm just going to do this section here, and then I'm pretty sure you'll know how to work out the rest. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So if I click here, section settings, So let's go to our background. So we're going to delete this image here and add our own image. So the image I'm going to have here is, let's say this one, upload an image. So now look at that. Our page design is already, transforming. If I save this, I can come over here to my text, design, change this to Poppins, change the color, save that. And then over here to the right, second column, filter, modified styles, and this is the color. I'm going to change this color to the colors on my branding. So I'm going to go with that one. I prefer this one. Okay. So now that we have this, the colors all set, you can now go into each and every module here and then just customize it. So for example, here, we can change our title font just to make sure it matches pretty much everything here. Change our font here to Poppins. There we go. Save that. Now, if you want to really, do this fast, right click over here, copy module styles, come over here, right click, paste module styles. Now you see that. I can also use extend styles. So very quickly, I was able to go in, change the image, change the fonts, change the colors really, really fast. So let's say I don't actually need this. Delete that. And let's say pretty much this is our page. Save that. And then I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. There we go. So this is now our contact page. I've changed all the fonts here, added my own image. Now we have a contact form, but of course you want to go in here and delete what you don't need and change the fonts like that. So as you can see, I've actually used a different pre-made layouts from a different layout pack. So it doesn't have to be the same pack that you're actually taking your layouts from. But the only thing is you just may want to go in and change all the fonts from as you're designing this layout. Okay, so pretty much this is what you need to do to work efficiently with Divi as you're designing your websites. So you can actually pretty much have a website design in a few hours, from start to end, if you have all these components in place. So it's really, really fast. It's actually a better way of designing your website. So add all your questions here if you have any. I can see here Michelle has a question. Why is there a gap before the footer? I think it's on the previous page that I was working on. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. So this is the gap. So let's investigate and find out why we have a gap here. So I'm going to go into my section settings here, filter, modified styles, and I can see here there's a padding, but I don't think that's the problem. Let's have a look. Okay, the padding is not the problem here. So this must have must be something to do with the margins. This is strange. Right, so let's see. Let's see what happens if I add. So this, so what is happening here is we have this gap here no matter what I add. So let's take a look here at the footer. So I'm going to go into my dashboard here. Theme builder. Global footer. It may be so I just want to make sure I don't have any margins here. Okay, so this one is fine. Okay, Zamir says the margins in the footer add tablet mode. Okay, let's take a look at that. That's strange. So we don't have it here. This is weird. I know this is a quick fix, but I just couldn't work out where that margin was. Let's see if this works now. Okay. So I've just gone in and added my margins. Rito says, go out of the builder, the gap will disappear. Okay, I'm going to try that. Sometimes Divi does some weird things, you know. Right, so I won't save this. Let me just try and exit the visual builder here, like what Rito says, discard and exit. Okay. Now let's go back in and see. Because clearly there were no margins there. So there shouldn't be a reason why that gap was there. So let's go back in now and see if this is working now. Okay, the gap is back. This is strange. Right, I'll need to work out what is going on here. But if you add the negative margin, this will just get rid of the gap. But I'm not sure why this is showing here, unless there is some sort of CSS that comes in with this. I don't know. Let me take a look. No CSS. That's strange. Okay, so let me just test this one more time. It's actually annoying me that we have this gap, you know? Yes, it shows up. Yeah, I'll need to work it out, find out why that gap is showing. That's my challenge for me. I'll share my results as well here on the stream. All right, I have a few questions here. I think I may have answered these. There's a question here saying, are you going to show the header too if we've created the header with the mega menu on it? Can we see it working? Okay, right. I know I'll mention that right now it seems like the header is cut off at the top here. This is because we are actually logged into the website. So if I come over here and log out and then go back to our site, you will notice that now the header looks fine. You can see here, it looks okay. The search, let's say we search for something here. The search results page looks like this, and this is a much better design. And this is the Genesis template, by the way. And let's say I click on the services page, contact page, the one that we've just been working on. There we go. So if I scroll all the way down here, that was the example template that we built. But you can see here as I scroll, it shrinks like that. And if I scroll back down, it expands. So that's how this template actually works. Now, let's say I try to search for a page that doesn't exist. We have a custom 404 page. There we go. And you can see here, this looks really nice. But of course, if you're not a fan of this color, you can always go in and change this color. And this button here is dynamic. So whatever website you have, this will always link to your homepage. Boom, back to our homepage, just like that. All right, let's have a look here. Display rules. This question is from Marilyn. Marilyn says, is it possible to prevent the footer from showing on just one page, e.g. the blog or contact page? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me show you quickly how you can do that. Right, I'm going to log back in here. So back over here to the theme builder. Let's say for our footer, we don't want to show a footer. All you have to do is to click on this eye icon, and that's it. Save changes. Back over here, if I go to our contact page, like that, you'll notice that you will not have a footer. There we go. So no footer for the contact page. Okay. So yes, you can actually choose specific pages that you don't want to show a footer on, and that will just not show the footer. The same thing applies here with the 404 page. You may have noticed that the 404 page does not have a header and a footer. Let me just show you that quickly. So you see that it's a full page, no header, no footer. That is because I've clicked on this eye icon, and that just disables the header and the footer. Gray says, I'm a lifetime member. Where can I get the Genesis template? It's actually in the membership. If you go to your dashboard, your membership dashboard, you'll see a tab called templates. You can get it. You can just download it from there. Jim says, why are your styles not as applied to the imported layout page? Very good question. Now, this is something that I think Elegant Themes is working on at the moment, because when you import a layout, it's supposed to adopt the styles of the actual style guide that I added earlier on. So that is something that Elegant Themes is still working on. I've actually raised this issue because it is quite annoying that you have to go in and start, reassigning all your headers. I mean, all your styles, your page sizes, and so on. But this is something that is being addressed. But any other pages that you add in, that you design from scratch, will have the styles of your layout. Okay, this is the same question by Jim as well, and I've just answered that. Yeah, hopefully that's going to be something that's going to be addressed very, very soon. In fact, on Monday, there's a brand new Divi feature that I'll be talking about. So on the Elegant Themes channel, please tune in. I'll be talking about the new update for Divi, which allows you to build websites inside the WordPress Gutenberg editor. Okay. Ahmed says, back to my question to explain again what I mean is, let's say I remove one column from the global footer. Right. I'm trying to understand this question here. Let's say I remove one column from the global footer and then I apply this change to the contact page. Ahmed, does this mean, because right now, from what I understand, you have a global footer, right? You go into your global footer, delete a column. If you delete that column, whatever change you save there is going to be applied across the whole website, right? But if you want to have that column on the contact page, you need to design a footer for the contact page. I hope that makes sense. So you need to have a footer for the contact page. Now, if you want to have most of the elements that you have from the global footer, what you need to do is to save that design of your main footer, right, into your library. And then as you're designing, you need to apply it from the library. Let me show you what I mean. So you just need to make sure you use the library to do that. Let me just show you quickly. So let's say you want to build a new footer here. Let's delete this one. So you'd need to save this one here as a global style or save it in the library. So when you come over here now to add a footer, you can see here, add from library. So you can actually go now to your library where you've saved your layouts, add that layout, and then that will be your starting point, which will be very similar to what you have here as your global footer. So I hope that's answered. In fact, Michelle here has also said, just copy the global footer and make a change and apply to certain pages. Yes, that's another way of doing it as well. Okay, so Ahmed, hopefully that answers the question. Excellent. All right, so any more questions? Okay, so pretty much this is our web design efficiency tips. These are, you need to bear these steps in mind as you're designing websites. Otherwise, it's going to take you a very, very long time to design all your websites from scratch every single time. So yeah, take these steps. This live stream is going to be saved. So if you go into the membership, you will see this live stream. I'm actually going to pretty much, edit a few points in this live stream and then add it onto the website. Right. All right. So pretty much this is our Saturday live stream. Thank you very much for tuning in. Next week, you can join me again where we'll be discussing, other topics or other, features. I haven't decided yet what we're going to be talking about. In fact, I'm also going to be giving you the opportunity to add. In fact, why don't you do it now? Oh, before we actually conclude, Douglas here says, why do we have a 404 page? All right. The reason why we have a 404 page is, I'm just going to disable this for now, okay? And just demonstrate to Douglas why we have a 404 page. Right, so I've just disabled that. So let's say, Douglas, let's say someone comes to your website and you have a broken link. Right, let's say this is, in fact, we might need to delete this altogether, okay? Right, there we go. Right, so let's say someone goes to a website which is a broken link, like that. This is the page that shows up. So I'm sure you can agree with me that this page does not look good. It does not look professional. This is why we need a custom-made 404 page, which you can design, add graphics, add whatever you want on that page to make it look really, really nice. This is not a good 404 page. So my answer to Douglas is, this is why you need a 404 page. It just makes it look professional. This one here does not look professional at all. All right, guys. So this covers us for today's live workshop. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you again next Saturday around about the same time, GMT, 12:30 or 1 o'clock, GMT. So again, thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, just add them here. I'll always see these questions as I go through all these questions. And again, the Genesis template is right here. If you click on it, it's only $7. I would appreciate it if you go ahead and buy it. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great weekend and see you again on Saturday. Take care.